Hi, my name is Mariah, and I am applying for the Bossbabes Get It Girl grant. So, a few things about me and why I think this grant would be a useful investment into our community. First of all, is I'm a person when it comes to um, like business and career wise, I am never afraid of no. For example, the first time I went to get a job when I was finished with high school, I really wanted to work in the journalism field. And so I walked into a newspaper office in my hometown and just asked to see the photo editor. I did not have an appointment. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, hey, I know who I'm supposed to talk with and I'll figure it out. And it ended up working out for me. I went in asking for an internship, but I brought my portfolio, and I guess he really liked my gumption and how straightforward I was. And so he hired me as a photographer for the rest of the summer. And it was an amazing experience. And I got to learn from some fantastic folks. And I think I can really take this investment from Boss Babes and use that same motivation and drive to be a smart business investment. Because an investment like this as a podcast producer, as an independent radio maker, it's not just an investment into myself. It's really an investment into our wider community. I work to tell stories. I just happen to have the technical know-how and have worked in production so that I can make this happen. I mean, just this summer, I've had some incredible opportunities to work with makers and storytellers. Everything from working on a grant proposal for a new Spanish language news podcast to going camping with someone who is afraid of the outdoors and wants to know why there are no nature hosts who are people of color and like what those outdoor spaces mean to her. So I consider myself really lucky to have such a wide net of incredible people to work with. And so I think an investment in me as a business owner is not just an investment in me personally, but really into our community and allowing us to have these opportunities to tell these stories outside of, our local radio stations and getting to pitch these stories to larger and more well-established news organizations and also just publishing them for the world to find in the iTunes store. The Texas and podcasting community at large is super interesting. A lot of the stories being created are happening in New York and LA, which is great. There's amazingly talented people in those places. But what about here, us in the middle of the country and in the South and in Texas? I know that we all have stories to tell and the talent to do it. And I'm here to make that happen. I want to use this grant to buy equipment so that I can, help these stories come to life and make them sound great, and do it without my computer crashing every other time that I open up my editing software. So that would be great. Austin in particular, and I know Boss Babes knows this, has an incredible amount of musicians, creatives, artists, and people who want to do incredible things. I mean, Spanish language podcast, there isn't one in Austin. How bananas is that? That idea is here in Austin. It needs to happen. And finally, Texas should support my business in this idea because it can continue to generate more income within our economy, from podcast ad sales to expanding into possibly video content, which I get asked a lot about from clients. And then, pitching these stories out to news organizations like WNYC, like NPR, who are always looking for these stories, but we need to actually make them and give them to them. And then hopefully other folks will hear how awesome it is and hear about what's going on here in these stories that can have a wider impact. And finally, a thing that makes me stand out is a lot of folks aren't able to make this their full-time job. I don't work for NPR. I don't work for a big media company, but I still manage to get to do what I love every day. This comes with a lot of hustle, a lot of networking, making lots of great connections like at Boss Babes. And I've been successful in getting my business off the ground by word of mouth, and I appreciate it so much from everyone that I work with. And I think that is what makes me stand out as a business. I don't want to mansplain it to people. I want to give folks useful information. I tell them the true landscape of the industry, and I try to help my clients create what their vision is and make it happen in audio. I've often been called a bit of a buzzsaw of dreams, but I think it's because I'm not just selling myself to make a quick buck. I'm selling my talents to help people make truly great content, and I don't want them to get into it if they're not into the idea of how much work this is. And so I hope that you'll consider my grant application for the Get It Girl grant. I would really appreciate it. And I love Boss Babes. So thanks for everything that you all do.